Yeah. So this is Leamington Spa in the UK. Leamington Spa. àlòkù ẹ̀yẹn máa gbé bọ̀. So these are all Leamington.
A different way, and somehow made the way that I dress even kind of look the way that I sound. And that's an art.
Yeah, it really is. The next track you've chosen is Dolly Parton's
See
Two
how
Doors
the
Down.
sky look blue in that middle. Wow, see that, see that,
Female
see
in
that
country
blue.
music. What an icon. She's just stood there on her own
See that,
pedestal, really.
see
isn't
that
she, Dolly
blue,
Parton?
see
I
that blue.
love Dolly, and she's become a dear friend of
Wow,
mine now,
see
which
that
is
blue.
kind of weird to say. I
That's
have
beautiful.
always looked up to her. I mean, from an early age, and just the amount of things that she's taught me before I actually
very
even knew
blue.
her, just from watching the way that she carries herself to the
see,
way that she kind of
just
tells it like it
tiny
is, with a little
in
bow
the-
wrapped on top. And
I mean-
now getting to know her and,
Oh,
spend a
wow,
little
see
bit of
the
time with
blue.
her, I try
Like
to soak
the
up as much wisdom as I possibly can.
layer of
But
blue is
she's the
inside.
kind of
See,
person. She has the kind of heart that she
I'm
just
glad
wants
that I
to
put this in recording.
share with you as much
see.
as she possibly can to feed into somebody, you know. I mean, like, that wisdom was given to her along the way, and she's just picked up things from having such a long career that she doesn't keep her cards too close to her chest. She's like, I want to share the good news. And so the first time I got to like hang out with her, she's like, do you have a good manager? And I said, yes, I do. And she was asking me questions like, does he do this? Does he do that? And she was just wanting to make sure that I was surrounding myself with the kind of people who are going to protect me.
Yeah, good advice. When you look back on Dolly Parton's career and you see the footage of her early years performing, the voice is just so distinctive, isn't it? Distinctive, powerful, but how do I say this without sounding really cheesy? It's like a blanket that when she starts singing, you just feel comfortable in her
sure.
presence. You know, with your headphones
I
on.
would
or whatever.
agree.
Yeah, it's just like.
I would agree. That's how she's always made me feel, just kind of like you know her. And she just has that presence about her. I think she really is a gift. And it'd be weird. Think of a world with no Dolly Parton. That would be weird.
It really would. It really would, actually.
traffic is now starting to ease. Routes in Preston look like they're flowing much better, so hopefully it shouldn't cause too much more of an issue today. Just be aware one lane is still closed both ways. Suffolk, the A12 northbound is partially blocked. It's in between Brightwell Corner and Eagle Way. In Bristol, the M5 southbound, you've got a lane closed because of an accident at junction 19, Portishead. Really heavy traffic because of that one as you go past. The M25, you've got a lane closed because of an accident after junction 12, the M3. About 4 miles of queuing traffic because of that. Congestion is about a mile before junction 11 at Chertsey, and a mile back down the M3 northbound as well. And then on the trains, you've still got delays of half an hour, some cancellations as well between Stafford and Wolverhampton. That's because of problems with points earlier. It's been sorted out, but a bit of a knock-on effect, and so hopefully that should clear up soon. And that is me today, Rich. I'll be back with the next update with Tina.
Thank you very much, Ali. What are you doing the rest of the day?
Oh, batch cooking, I think. It's quite boring, that, isn't it?
Batch cooking. What are you batch cooking?
I'm going to do a pulled chicken chilli.
If you're batch cooking, that means you're doing more.
Doing it for the week.
Yeah.
I'll be having that every day, lunch and dinner.
Well, you know you got 3 mates in here. You know what I mean? We love a bit of batch cooking, don't we? Look at Janice. We draw close to this show. Tina starts at 12, Trevor at 2, Sarah at 4, Joe Wiley from 7, and then the jazz show with Jamie at 9 o'clock. That's Jamie's the good groove with DJ Spoony. OJ at 12, and then pops at 3 in the AM with Mark Goodyear. Whatever you're doing today, for the rest of it, have a cracker.
Leamington Spa. That blue was blue. You see the blue. You see the clouds. You see the blue.
contracts from Laney Wilson. Looking forward to her coming in on Friday. It's going to be good, that. I am now going to leave you in the Northern Kent lands of the one and only Tina Dahealy, who's in for Jeremy. Tina!
Thank you very much, Bernard. And hello, it is Tina Dahealy in for Jeremy Vine. Coming up on the programme this lunchtime, an oil tanker collides with a cargo ship in the North Sea, leading to explosions and fires. The search for a missing sailor is called off. There are big worries about the impact on wildlife and the environment. We speak to the Deputy Prime Minister, Angela Rayner, as the government publishes its plan to streamline the planning system and build more homes. After one, should shops and cafes be banned from saying, sorry, we don't take cash, it's card only here? And do you need white noise to get to sleep? Let me know. Email vine@bbc.co.uk, include your name and number. You can text 88291 or WhatsApp me 08000 288 291. I'd love to hear from you. Now, this is Tina Dahealy. BBC Radio 2. But first, let us get the latest news with Claire Runacres.
Thanks, Tina. Manchester United have announced plans for the biggest stadium in the UK. It'll cost £2 billion and have a capacity of 100,000. The aim is to have it ready in 5 years. The club's co-owner, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, said he wanted to build the world's greatest football stadium. Old Trafford has been United's home since 1910. Our sports correspondent Jane Dougal has more.
It's hoped that this stadium and all that goes with it will bring large-scale social and economic benefits to the community, and it has the potential, they say, to bring an additional £7.3 billion to the UK economy annually. There's also talk of the creation of 92,000 more jobs, but crucially 17,000 more new homes, and that's part of the government's growth agenda.
Experts are warning of the risk of severe environmental damage following yesterday's collision between two ships in the North Sea. An oil tanker was transporting jet fuel, and the cargo vessel, the So Long, had highly toxic chemicals on board. Jono Ledley is from the Yorkshire Wildlife Trust.
This is the road to Rugby. I think there is another road also.
This area was
But that one was like
really incredible for wildlife.
in the village or in the rural area. When I took that road, there's the time I took the road, it was so, I mean, the road was
Ukraine has
horrible.
launched what appears to be its largest drone attack on Russia's capital, Moscow, since the beginning of the war. Russian officials say that 3 people have been killed and a total of 20 people injured, including a child. Talks on the war between American and Ukrainian officials are taking place in Saudi Arabia. The US Secretary of State Marco Rubio sees some merit in a proposal from Ukraine
that road.
for partial ceasefire.
So there's another road that leads to
Our correspondent in
Rugby.
Kiev, James
But
Waterhouse,
the
says
problem is
today's
that
drone attacks were
it
carried out
can be very funny
The
road.
goal of these attacks is
It
to
can be
bring
very
this war,
funny
Russia's
road.
invasion,
I mean,
to the doorsteps of those Russians who may choose
the
to
road is
turn
very
blind
tiny.
eye, or who may not be aware of exactly what is
The road is
going on.
very tiny.
The timing is also
And it's
pertinent,
inside
and the aerial
like a-
ceasefire and pausing on drone attacks is
inside
something
like
Ukraine
a-
is proposing
a village,
in these
actually.
peace talks in Saudi Arabia.
Police investigating the fatal shooting of a 16-year-old boy in South London last week say they have made 2 further arrests. Nathaniel Burrell died shortly after being attacked in a street in Stockwell. Officers say a 17-year-old boy has now been arrested on suspicion of murder and a 40-year-old woman on suspicion
Every
of
time they're
assisting an
doing
offender.
something on their road,
Another suspect has already been
you know,
charged with murder.
they maintain their
Thousands of
roads
horse
every
racing
minute,
fans are
every
descending
time.
on
So
Gloucestershire for the opening day of the Cheltenham
it's
Festival.
very difficult to see
Feature race,
a
the
road
Champion
that
Hurdle will see the 2023 winner, Constitution Hill, bid to become only the
the
second
UK.
horse to regain the title this
They're always
century.
doing something. See what they're
BBC
doing now
News,
with
it's
this
4
road.
minutes past 12.
Now, this is Tina Dahealy.
BBC Radio 2.
Welcome along, sweet freedom, and then we'll talk about that tanker collision.
So I was right here. We are going to London, you just be going straight. But I'm not going to London today, I'm going to Rugby. Yeah, I'm going to London, to Cairns, wherever. Totally know that the weather is getting better, you know. So it's only when we are in winter that's Capri and all those nonsense. Like when it's snow. But when you buy some that for shell. At least I'm only walking it sorry. I'm only walking it sorry. You know, I'm picking a photo corner for you. Apotori. So, for sale, can I look? So we just the day I took the different routes. You see all those sides out there, left and right that you're seeing. It's like they are farmlands. I mean, you see cow, you see, yeah, mostly cow. But even the farmlands, it's like even the farmland is like when you're on road new, I don't know. But you have all these trees. Yeah, kids, I think.
That was Michael McDonald's Sweet Freedom. I'm Tina Dealey with you until 2 this afternoon. Now, questions are being asked about how on earth two huge ships collided in the North Sea, bursting into flames, leaving one person missing and creating an environmental hazard. The US-registered Stena Immaculate, which was transporting jet fuel on behalf of the US military, was anchored just outside the Humber estuary when the Portuguese-flagged Solong moved towards it, travelling at high speed around 16 knots. Here's Humber Coast Guard reporting the incident.
Solong has collided with tanker Stena Immaculate in the outer anchorage. Both vessels are abandoning. Vessels who have firefighting equipment or who can assist with search and rescue, contact Humber
This
Coast Guard
is like,
on
I think
Channel
I'm already in Rugby now.
Vessel Stena Immaculate
So this is
carrying Jet
Rugby
E1
Town.
fuel, which is on fire and in the water. Request vessels remain
The
at a
Rugby
safe
Town.
distance.
To compare
The
this
sailor who was on
to
board the Stena Immaculate said
Leamington,
the
you
other
see
ship
the
came from
difference
out of the
on
blue.
the
They only had
building.
seconds to react.
On
Both
the
ships
building.
evacuated with 36 crew getting to safety in Grimsby. However, one crew member from the Solong is still missing
So,
and the
you
search
see,
has
this
been
is
called off.
Rugby.
The Maritime Accident Investigation Branch has begun its investigation. Fires burnt on both ships through the night. There are
So
huge
this is
concerns
Rugby
now
now.
about the environmental impact.
And Rugby.
Footage shows the hull of the Stena Immaculate torn
See,
open.
there
It's
are
not known
others there, so-
how much jet fuel has spilled into the sea. The Solong is believed to have been carrying sodium cyanide, which is extremely toxic when it makes contact with water. Perhaps you live in Grimsby or Hull or somewhere near the Humber estuary and you've been involved in the aftermath of this collision, or you may be worried about the environmental impact. Email your comment, your number to vine@bbc.co.uk or text 88291, WhatsApp 08000 288 291. We can go to Phil McCann, our BBC News correspondent, who is in Grimsby. Phil, what's the latest? Do we know if these fires
This
are out
is
yet?
Rugby Town.
Well, Tina, if you look at the footage that's been shot from the BBC's helicopter, where you can see the oil tanker, it looks like the fire is out, but there was a warning that that might be a premature assumption to make, of course, because you don't know exactly what's going on inside the hull of that boat, of that ship, because it was carrying, of course, an awful lot of jet fuel, much of which we know has spilt into the North Sea. This is where I'm standing, Grimsby Docks. This is where the sailors who were rescued were brought ashore last night, 36 of them, with one exception, of course, as you mentioned, one person unaccounted for, a member of crew from the cargo ship which crashed into the oil tanker, and the search for them, as you mentioned, has been called off. And we heard earlier on, didn't we, that actually quite dramatic sounding call from the Humber Coast Guard telling ships nearby that both of those ships were abandoning and asking anybody who could help to get in touch with the Coast Guard. We also heard some really quite dramatic testimony from one of the sailors on board who spoke to the BBC.
See the blue sky.
As you said, described the ship as coming out
When
of
the
the
blue
blue.
is more blue
Another who
here.
spoke to the
See
BBC's
the cloud.
partner network,
They're blue.
CBS News, described how the boat, the ship that crashed into the oil tanker,
So this is
member of crew on the
Rugby
tanker,
now.
seemed to continue
This is their
driving
houses
into them
now.
for what
See?
seemed like 10
So
minutes.
here they have
And
all
he said
kinds
that they
of
initially tried to
category
fight
of
flames, but realised that
buildings,
that was
of
a lost cause, and
houses.
so the decision was made to abandon ship. And
But
as
where
everybody
Bashir Tony,
got into those
you know,
life
you
rafts,
can
he said
afford
that the flames
this,
were
or
lapping
you can
at
afford
them
the
and
smaller
even
one.
singed the hair
We have the
of some of those
council
sailors
house.
as they tried
You
to get
have
away,
the-
so it was that close. But really
So
significant, of course,
we
the
have the
questions now are about
terrace, we
how
have
on earth
the,
this could
you know,
happen.
this is what
Well,
we have.
this sailor speaking
And we
to
have those
CBS
posh
News,
one. I mean, like,
described how the day
are very
before
nice.
they had dropped anchor at this
So,
point and had communicated their
know that
coordinates.
they
And so he
just
said
arranged
everybody
them.
should have known where we were.
Right.
they make sure that
Was the weather an issue, do we think? Is that being mentioned?
what
at
you
this
build
stage?
correspond with what they want in that area. Like what they're not doing in the cool Atlantic and what they did in Abuja.
So, well,
If
fog is not
the
something that's
advantage
particularly rare, so there
of
are all
that
sorts of
is that it
systems in
makes
place, not least radar,
like
that are
this
meant to
area will
prevent
be
these kind of collisions,
makes for like the
especially
city will be
considering
nice,
how huge these
but
ships
the area
are,
will be nice.
but also how potentially dangerous they can be.
when it's
All right, Phil,
properly
thank you very much, Phil McCann,
planned.
who is there in Grimsby, BBC News correspondent. Let's
Right.
go to Tom Sharp. a
Every
retired
area
Navy
have their
commander.
own
Everyone's asking
kind
the same
of
question
building
today.
that-
How on
that
earth
is
could this have
allowed.
happened?
And they have different kind
Not
of,
to make light of it,
you know,
but this
building
is
in
like
certain
cars
area.
crashing. It shouldn't happen.
Even
You should
sometimes
go
you
from A
see
to B
some
and your car
posh
shouldn't crash, but it
area
does,
with
and it
very
happens all the
posh,
time. In fact,
expensive
in the last few years, there have been 6,000 instances at sea, of which over
buildings
60
and
ships
stuff,
have
and
been
then you
lost
have
to those
council
instances.
house
So
around
it
it,
happens
not
a lot.
far away
We
from
just
it. So
generally don't hear
it's
about
like
it.
they're trying to
Okay, so it
balance
shouldn't
it,
happen,
like
it's happened.
telling
What do
the
you think
one
might
that
have gone
is
wrong?
living in the
I think
council
the so long has left.
house that see,
It's
if you
been
work
on a
hard,
nav track that it's used many times before.
you can afford,
In
you can
fact,
be able to
the AIS
move to
tracking
that
data
place,
shows this. It's on a track
the
that's been,
nice place.
that it's used many
Then
times,
telling
it's
people
switched
that
to
are
also,
already living
and
in
then
the
from that
posh
moment
area
on
that
for
see,
about the next
if
9
you mess
hours
up,
or so, it's not paying
you will end up
attention. It's
living
not
in
looking out
the
they're not looking out
in the
window.
council
They're not
house,
adhering to the
which is not
anti-collision
very
rule
poor.
5, which is that every ship has
So
to
it's like
maintain a
it's like
couple of times.
on the ending battle, everyone is
Physical
running
impact,
around
essentially.
Yes, has to be a human. Now, one
either
thing
to
our
move
ships will go around
to
sea
the other
is
side,
also, again, if a car can do it,
either
then a
to
ship
start
can do
living
it.
in a
But
nice
we're
place,
miles
or
from that right now, and
to
so
not
it's
go
still
back
very
to
much
the
a
poor
human imperative to
place
keep
if
a
you are
proper
already in
lookout
the nice
and to
place.
take
So
action. Now, with one ship at anchor,
it has like
you know,
everyone
there's
in
no
this
doubt in my
on
mind who's
this app.
responsible. Normally, with these collisions, you have to wait
Is
for
it?
investigation because you don't have all
Either
the
you want to
information.
go up the ladder or you don't want to drop down from the
It's
ladder.
therefore absolutely the prerogative of the vessel
Even all
operator
our
to keep
cars,
clear, and they
you
failed to
can
do so.
see
And we're hearing, again, we don't know the full details, investigations are
the number
underway,
plate of a
but could it
car
be the
and know
case
the
that
kind
there
of
were,
car and know
tired
the
crew?
year of the car.
Yeah,
Like this one
very
is
small crews being worked,
2011 car.
being worked very
The one in my
hard.
front.
Fatigue
This
nearly
brown.
always features
This
in
brown
these
one. This
investigations.
van
The
is,
Marine Accident Investigation
think this is
Branch will have to look into all the sort of
2022.
cultural elements that
Just
led
by
to this.
looking at
Fundamentally,
the-
it comes down to a failure of what's called bridge resource management. BRM. That's at the heart of this, and it always is. So now, whether that's fatigue,
that one is,
whether that's
that one is
inexperience,
like,
poor training, poor certification,
that one I
and
can't
all
see
these
it
things will
anymore.
add up, and you'll
But you
end
can
up with
actually see,
a
I
cultural
know
and systemic
the
failure
how
on
old
the
is
bridge
the
of
car
that
by
ship.
looking
And
at
sorry
the
if I'm
number plate.
oversimplifying, but just
This
outside
one
of what's going
beside
on
me,
those
this
two
black
vessels,
one or
similar to the way
whatever,
we have air traffic
is
control, isn't there some sort of radar system that should have picked this up and warned in advance?
So last
Yeah,
year.
100% on both ships, and potentially
last year
ashore.
car.
Again, now the business ashore really comes down to how closely do we surveil our maritime environment around the UK and around the world. The answer is, as the dark fleet are proving again and again, not very. But that's not to take the responsibility away from the ships. They should have had collision alarms on their bridge from both their automated identification systems, from their radar tracking systems. But sometimes these things carry false alarms and they get turned off.
Yeah.
They're beeping and they get turned off, and before you know, all the settings aren't
No,
right.
this is
The
the
ship at anchor
Asda
hasn't got its
supermarket.
criteria entered properly, and it doesn't alarm in time. And so again, all of these things will need to be determined.
I need to
So
find
all of
car
this should have
park.
been in place and provided plenty of warning to avoid
And,
the accident.
these ships, how long have they been
Parking
on the
lot.
seas? Are they very old?
So this
Are
one
these
is
anti-collision
like- that one
systems
is
fit
the
for
old car.
purpose in 2025?
59.
The So Long is older, 20 years. But that's sort of on the cusp of becoming old in ship terms. Doesn't necessarily make it old. Depends how many miles it's done and how it's been maintained. The Stena Immaculate is much younger, but the systems that I'm describing, the anti-radar collision
So it's
systems, the automate, they're old
everyone
technology.
is
AIS, as it's known,
on
was
the
designed
race.
to help avoid collisions, but it came in the mid-90s, and it's not accurate. It's not reliable. But someone has to spend money on the R&D, on the development of a newer system, and the shipping companies at the moment can't
Everyone
agree
is on the
what
race.
fuel to use in their ships. So they're not going to spend money on this. It's a profit loss business. So yeah, the technology's there, they just don't use it.
And visibility, it's no excuse, but that could have been a factor if it's foggy.
It's foggy, you just slow. There again, there are very many rules regarding the conduct of ships and restricted visibility. None of them abrogate your responsibility to keep a good lookout by all means available. That's sort of one of the caveats. So you would slow down if you certainly wouldn't take your ship through a busy anchorage off a major port in restricted visibility. But for those decisions to be made, you have to be paying attention. You have to be aware of what's going on around you, and it seems that wasn't the case.
And we'll get on to, we're going to speak to someone from the Yorkshire Wildlife Trust in just a moment.
Parking. I can't find
You're
the
going to
parking
have,
there, so I
presumably
have to
containers floating
go
around.
inside.
You've got these chemicals, fuel on one of them, and toxic
I have to
chemicals on
go
the
inside
other.
and
That's a
start.
potent combination.
Yes, I mean, they're both. I've spoken to a few experts on this. The cyanide and the gas fuel, whilst that sounds awful, if they just go in the water, they're actually not the worst things that can go in the water. It's not good. I'm not downplaying it, but they both evaporate to the atmosphere quite quickly. They get broken up by the sea surface, etc. So there are worse things out there, heavy fuels and much more hazardous materials. If they cook off, if the pressure builds in either ship to the point where it explodes and it goes directly into the atmosphere, then you've got a much more serious problem.
This car park,
really
you
the
can park
ability
here
to do
for
anything about
2
that right now is
hours
limited because you have to keep a
without
safe distance from
paying.
your ships.
Then after 2
And so
hours,
you just, at this point, keeping an eye on the So Long will be drifting. She didn't go to anchor because it was her bow
have
that
to
was
move
smashed
your
in.
car.
So she'll be.
I think.
There's a lot more to this salvage and recovery.
So this is car park for one of their
Yeah, can you
supermarkets
imagine?
called
One of our listeners has asked, I think it's a good
Asda.
question. I mean, are there sort of black box equivalents on these
big
ships?
car park, you see.
There are. There
how
are
they
various
normally
types.
have free
Data recorders. Quite
car
often
park so
kept
that
on the bridge.
people can buy things and
Machinery
just
spaces of the ships.
keep shopping. At least when you shop for like 2 hours, you gotta spend enough money. So, just trying to drive around to show the car park. Also, just, I don't know what they're doing. Oh, let me just park here. Let me just park here. Okay, let's just move. I want to show the side. Okay, I want to show it.
And then on the Lincolnshire coast,
So I just want to show the car park
Lincolnshire Wildlife Trust site at
recording.
Nook, which is a national
Okay,
nature
so
reserve.
the car park is
And
one
this
way
winter, over
like
1,600
that.
grey seal pups were born
We're
this
driving
winter.
the wrong way there. We're just facing that side. Okay. If I can find parking now, I'll park. Hopefully I'll find something here. Okay, I think on my wall. I'll find chicken there. Okay. Let's see if I can fit in there. To move a bit. It's too close. It's too close. Let me see. Move it way it is. So welcome to Rugby. That's the supermarket.